I will later explain the Hisatari thing. A constructed language or conlang is a language whose phonology, grammar, and vocabulary, instead of having developed naturally, are consciously devised for some purpose. Basically, it's a language that a person created. Maybe for fun, for experimentation, or for a work of fiction like a novel, series, or movie. The first ever conlang that we know is from Turka, created in the 14th century by, maybe, Basilal Starabadi or Mai Gulshani. And its name is Balabalan or Bala Balan, or Balabalan or Balabilan. It was probably designed as a holy or poetic language for religious reasons, like lingua ignota and perhaps daemon. It may also have been a secret language, but it's also well documented, so what the fuck do secret language have to do with well documented? No idea. Also, it's some of those boring languages, so let's going on. I mentioned lingua ignota, right? That is also one of the oldest conlangs. It has an original writing system and is Latin inspired. But the vocabulary seems to be borrowed from Bomb Squad video game. You know, Bomb Squad? When you access to the language settings and you have the gibberish option, it's the exact same thing. You probably want to see the big monsters here. Before that, we have to look at the types of conlangs that exist. Those are the Engelangs, the Uxlangs, and the Artlangs. They are classified according to its original purpose as shown in the picture. With subcategories, we have a posteriori and a priori, which respectively say if it is based or borrow stuff from a Naylong or not as shown on the image. Yes, I know, you're just expecting to me for talking about those known conlangs. Right now. The first ever conlang to make an impact was Volapük, created by Johann Martin Skleer in 1880. This language, an Uxlang, was based on Germanic languages like English. It gained enough popularity that ended with 1 million speakers. But 8 years later, Esperanto appeared with easier grammar and easier to be fluent. People just start to abandon Volapük and noticed that it doesn't sound good for talking. Pacific Rim situation. People throw Volapük away. The Volapük Academy tried to make some noise with some reforms but divided a lot of the remaining speakers. Today, there is 27 speakers only. And most of those are Esperantists. But Volapük has legacy. The word Volapük in Dutch means gibberish, and the word Volapük in Russian means reading Cyrillic like if it were Latin alphabet. At least the word mother is not as ridiculous as Esperanto's one. In Esperanto, it's patrino, which for an Eurocentric language, it's the word godfather in Spanish. Eurocentrism is a sin of Esperanto. Of course, it was created by Polish Dr. Ludwik Ledzer Zamenhof, and on the present day, it's the most spoken conlang ever. Some Uxlangs try to avoid that by being more neutral. One of those was Sorsal, created by François Suter in 1827, 60 years before Zamenhof's creation. The a priori languages entered on the game. Sorsal has only 7 syllables. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. Yes, the musical notes. The word Sorsal itself means language. The words are composed of these notes, and as a result, Sorsal can be written and expressed in many, many, many ways. Good, right? The main flaw of this language is when we have to write proper nouns. How can we write the name Karel using only 7 syllables? Maybe with a Morse code-esque way. No idea. It also has this cool feature that, if you know how to write a word, you already know the antonym of that word, by only reversing the notes order. Missile means good, so Sami means bad. Great. I can't hate you, Sorsal. In 1935, Kenneth Seawright, top supporter of the Seawrights, made Sona. It consists of 375 roots that can be words on their own and can be combined to make more words. And sometimes those words can be unbelievably similar in meaning and pronunciation to a word in a Natlong. Remember the word Hisatari? That word means history, but because it's composed of roots, he, special, saw, knowledge, to, pass, and re, time. The language is an example of a ligosynthesis, a method where little parts can be combined to make bigger parts. Okay, look, we're skipping all those boring Eurocentric conlangs, interlingua, Latin synflexion, glossa, novial, interglossa, and all Esperanto bastard children like Edo, Archaicom, Esperantum or Lesperant. Let's go right to the 1960s. Aoi, the language of space. Also known as Pika ligosynthesis, because all the basic roots are one sound long and has 42 in total. The word aoi itself is a combination of between quotes roots a, space, u, mind, and e, sound. But Aoi already has a video on this channel, so go check it. I will only say it's probably one, if not my favorite conlang ever. So we go to 2001 and, wait a moment, do we also skip Lojban? I guess we don't. Lojban is a logical language. Its all thing is based on logic. Lojban is based on predicate logic, the same logic used on programming languages. It would be an easy language to manage if it wasn't because of the whole vocabulary idea based on that principle. You have to learn the words and how they can interact with the other words in a sentence. The word klama in Lojban means to go, but it also means x goes to x from x through root x by transport x, and you can replace the x with the information you want to express. Fortunately, we can learn only like 30 of these stuff and it will be okay. You know what logical language is not easy to manage? Yep, Ithquil, the hardest language in the universe. But why? Ithquil's simpler roots are consonants, like Arabic. The problem is that several other affixes are added to it, making its meaning more complex to the point it becomes a sentence. The real problem is that the affixes are irregular. And you know what happens when a language has the word irregular, it becomes cringe. So, at least the creator John Kajata released a more simplified version of Ithquil. These became this. At least. Now we go back to 2001 as another peak Conlang was released, Tokipona, the Ithquil nemesis. Now, which language is the easiest? Answer. It depends on how you can handle the pronunciation, writing, grammar and vocabulary, probably compared to your native language. One day, Sonia Lang, or Sonia Lenkisa, or Jan Sonia, said less is more and happier. Not in the country I'm living though. She created Takipana in 2001, based on philosophical principles of Taoism. It has only 14 sounds and 130 words. And at this point, it has to be the second most famous constructed language behind Esperanto. Maybe Takipona is king now, I don't know. Takipana is more worthy for being an auxiliary language. Like, I was talking Takipona with a guy on Twitter and I discovered that the guy was Japanese. So it works. Now, this video is sponsored by no one. Now, the Conlang word has been quiet, without any bombs, only a few film language like Klingon and those of Jack Eisenman, and it will be very quiet since Conlangs are losing usefulness in the world, so, sorry. And the responsible is the language I'm talking right now.